what did you think of the Roman return? Like, that was kind of a big deal.
Thought it was really cool. Thought it was really well done. Um, I, everything happened that I expected to happen. I expected him to get physically involved later than an evening. I thought his promo was really good. I thought they did really well with it and gave it enough time and didn't rush through it. So no, I really liked it.
So, I I I don't have an issue with how he came back. I thought it was awesome. He got the cheers. I feel like WWE is really on this high right now of just like manipulating the hell out of their fan base. And, that's somewhat partially their job, right? Like, they want to get you to believe something and want to see it. That is the main job of how you put this stuff together. But I think I just have a bad taste in my mouth from the Saudi Arabia stuff, from, other things that I go, okay, this, they probably didn't need to do this, and I'm not exactly sure why they're doing this. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because, so I wasn't watching live. I was at work, and I was just reading up because I wanted to see if he was going to announce something or, what the announcement was going to be. And it was really just that he's healthy and he's back, which is great. And I just got finished reading the recap on the Observer site, and then I get an email from WWE. And I was like, uh-oh, don't tell me that they're hawking the new t-shirt immediately. Open the email to Roman Reigns' brand new t-shirt. And I thought, you know what? If they are actually donating some of the proceeds to cancer research, I'm all for this thing. I'm like, this is a really good idea. And so I click on the email and I open it, and they're just selling Roman Reigns' t-shirt. I was like, wow. Like, that is like so tone deaf to the whole thing that I was just, and I shouldn't have been surprised because this is just kind of what they do, but I was so flabbergasted. And so in thinking that way, I was just kind of wondering, because I was trying to do the timeline of when he left. And, all cancer is serious, right? Like, this is not something that is not a serious issue. Any sort of cancer, like, is very scary. But what I wonder is because they kept things so secret, I wonder originally, like, what the prognosis was as far as, like, how long he would be out. Because we know that he did the movie with The Rock. And really, like, it was really good for him to kind of be on that break so that the fans got a little bit of a break from him. It's the old Jim Cornette, how am I going to miss you if you never leave? And I thought it's like, this is perfect timing. He's going to get healthy. He's going to come back. He's going to be cheered. And then I started to think, well, what if he was only really going to be gone for like a month? And they're like selling the fans on this thing of like, leukemia, and they're having, Dean Ambrose cut promos on leukemia and Baron Corbin make fun of leukemia. And then they bring him back and now they're sort of just capitalizing on cancer. And then it kind of felt a little scummy to me. And I hate feeling that way, but because of it just being pro wrestling, I sort of like, I kind of look for the potholes and I don't want to step in them, But that's just sort of my long-winded view of how that happened. And that doesn't take away from what he actually was able to accomplish, which is come back from that and come on TV and be back. I love you know this. I really like Roman Reigns a lot. There was just that little scummy feeling that I had that didn't sit well with me while I was watching that show. But that may simply be me, and it may not be other people. And that just might be sort of the way that I am looking at this thing.
Yeah, I see it because, through history of wrestling, I mean, there's a lot of scummy stuff, really dirty stuff. But, I think I don't want to think this way about this situation. I really don't. I think it's a positive thing, and I'm happy that he's back because, like you, I'm a big Roman Reigns guy. I think he's extremely talented. I think he is the guy. I think he has everything that people should cheer and want to cheer and support. I mean, he's a good wrestler and really, always has good matches. And so I'm glad that he's back on the show, and I hope the fans finally treat him with respect because, he busts his ass every show that I've been to. I mean, I've seen him at plenty of times at live events that are not taped for TV, and he's working hard, and of course in matches on Raw he's always working hard, and of course pay-per-views he always delivers at least if not the best match of the night. So I'm happy he's back, and I'm curious to see what they have planned for him.
And the other thing is, and I love getting in these conversations because there is this idea that Roman Reigns isn't over. And I think what they really mean is that he isn't the beloved white meat babyface that they try to portray him as. And so whenever I get into this conversation, I go, okay, there is a difference with what you are saying and what you are trying to communicate. He is way over. He gets cheered and booed and just reaction on top of reaction. Now, my question to you is that idea of that like white meat babyface who can keep that consistent crowd reaction. Do you think with this current fan base, which is more hardcore than ever, and as you know, the hardcore fans are the ones who generally don't necessarily go with the vibe of what WWE is trying to do. Do you think anybody could ever get that sustained, reaction of 6 months of just hot babyface? Or do you think it's always going to be like this, where you're going to have lots of cheers, and then some people will turn on the idea of the character? Like, I'm just wondering if you can still have that top babyface, white meat babyface reaction in today's wrestling.
I think you can. You just need all the right elements. You need, the heel that people are going to hate and all that. But the crowds are a little more fickle these days. Everyone, feels that they're against the machine of people pushing, and I think they like to latch on to other things. It's like, but throughout wrestling stuff they're watching, they've always pushed certain people, and so I think so. I think it work out. Can Roman capture that fire? I sure hope so. I think he can. It's just everything has to line up. I mean WWE does seem, but then again, it is WrestleMania season, so angles get a little better and a little more interesting. So I'm always curious to see WWE after WrestleMania because I want to see what they have in plan, because that's when things start going to like a lull but if you're watching this Monday, you think that it was a pretty exciting project right now because they did a lot of cool things.
We always complain about that third hour. If this was a 2-hour show, it would have been one of the best Raws of all time. Yeah,
I agree. That third hour is a killer. I mean, just kind of takes the energy out, and you're feeling it with matches that you really don't need. I mean, there's no need for Kurt Angle to wrestle Jinder Mahal. just don't need it for just randomly on Raw. All right,
well, we'll get back to Raw and as we go through this, but if you let's say Roman is going to wrestle at WrestleMania, what do you do?
It's funny because when we didn't really have a long recap of Elimination Chamber, we just kind of touched on it on our last podcast, and when Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley, and Baron Corbin gave the Shield triple power bomb onto Strowman through a table, I remember thinking is Roman coming back? Why would they focus on these three guys and do that Shield but then the whole Dean Ambrose stuff with him being a heel or what the hell he's doing kind of threw me off a little bit. But then all of a sudden here's this Roman announcement. I'm like, wait a second, but this could be a Fastlane thing. It's most likely is a Fastlane.
Yeah.
So what do you do for come WrestleMania with him? Now, here's something that I'm interested to see is going on with Seth Rollins, because we do know he has an injury. We do know he's being kept from wrestling to recover in time for WrestleMania. But how serious is this injury, right? What if Roman's just, he's there for also be the backup plan if something happens with Seth. So,
I'm gonna give you a prediction. Seth does the match, loses the match. Roman comes over, and Seth is like, "Go ahead, man, go ahead." Throw salt in Brock Lesnar's eyes.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. That would be the worst thing. That'd be the worst thing ever.
They're following our podcast. Start doing some 93 stuff. No, I mean, so it all depends how the Fastlane stuff ends up. But I could see him either teaming with Strowman and maybe Ambrose, kind of, I guess, the three again, or maybe just a one singles match versus Corbin where he can kill him or something like that. Because I kind of don't want them to beat Drew McIntyre anytime soon. I'd like to see Drew get a big win at WrestleMania to lead to, future title shots against Seth. I'm thinking Seth's going to win the title, but if he doesn't, if he does, at least you have a heel that's ready for him to compete against.
We had this great idea of John Cena coming back and facing Daniel Bryan. It doesn't look like that's going to happen if we're reading the Vince McMahon tea leaves correctly. What about Cena and Roman?
Yeah.
They've only done that match, from what I remember, once, right? On a pay-per-view? They only did it once?
Yeah, it's once, but I guess you can use them. Yeah, it's a mega match, I guess, for WrestleMania for sure. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I'm with it. I would kind of like to see Cena used for like a guy like Drew to get him,
Yeah, me too.
Get him ready. But yeah, I'd be cool with it too. I still want to know what they're going to do with Strowman. He's kind of in limbo too with all this stuff. So
yeah. Okay, so let's move on to the Ronda, Becky, Charlotte stuff. So Ronda has a match. Ronda and Natty against the Riot Squad. Becky comes in. She's still hobbling. She's got the crutch. She knocks out the goofy security guy. And then her and Ronda kind of go at it. And I thought this was actually... this was really interesting. And I really think they need to give up the Becky knee thing. Because what it made me realize is you have like a real person like Ronda. And so Becky's got the crutch. Becky's trying to hobble. Ronda literally walks up to her and snatches the crutch out of her hands in like a second. And I was like, if this was real, that's exactly what she would have done to someone who's hobbling, right? And so, and then I almost thought it was like too quick. I was like, oh man, Ronda's a little too excited here. But I really think they got to cut it out with this knee injury stuff because, you need 100% strength Becky and 100% strength Charlotte to get me to believe that one of them is going to win this match. And I don't like the knee thing. Like, I know the knee thing was their goofy way to get out of, of what, just to create the storyline in of itself. But I want this knee thing to go away because it just made me realize, like, this is like going to be so fake if she's running in there on one leg,
There's still enough time for her to recover and quote unquote. And, once they officially announce the match as a 3-way at WrestleMania, they'll, I'm sure she'll, lose that knee injury and be good. But then it'll come up again during the match for sure.
So Becky gets arrested, and I don't know if you saw what on Instagram, Becky basically tells. So actually, let's step back. Basically, what happens is Ronda calls out Vince. Stephanie comes out, and Ronda says, "You need to unsuspend Becky. We need to make this match. We need to make history." And Steph's like, "Nope, not gonna happen. We gave Becky a consequence. She broke the rules. Not gonna happen." And Ronda was like, "Okay, well, when I came here, I'm only gonna do, be the champion of of a belt that means something or whatever. And so she just put the belt in the middle of the ring and walked out. So the next day, Becky posted on Instagram something about, Ronda, you need to go back and get that belt because I don't want to win it from Steph. I want to win it from you. And she basically put up photos of pretending like that she had mugshots. Mm-hmm. And then so Ronda comments on the post and she's like, well, what do you think I'm trying to do, dumbass? I'm doing all this stuff while you're taking fake pictures in the back, like you're in like, fake mugshots or whatever. So I thought that was actually pretty funny.
Pretty funny.
I thought that was, that was a really good angle. And then Charlotte the next night cuts this promo looking like a rock star. And she basically says that she's going to go to Raw. Vince McMahon is going to hand her that Raw Women's title because, Ronda doesn't want it. She should get it. And so she's going to show up on Raw. And so I kind of like what they're doing here. We've kind of exposed some of the goofiness of it, but still the full story that they are telling, they're giving all three of these women an opportunity to show them, show off and show how good they are. I think Charlotte is hitting a home run. I think Becky's doing a really good job. I think Ronda probably needs to slow down a little bit because she's so excited. But I mean, she brings that different level of like, sometimes I worry that she's going to snap in the ring, and I think that's what you want, right? You want that like, oh shit, is she really going to do something? Because that she just has that, whatever that thing is, she's got it, and this whole thing I think has been really well done so far.
Yeah, the only thing I can critique about the angle on Monday night on Raw was the fact that I didn't like Ronda's promo. I thought a lot of what she said wasn't her. I thought I understand what they're doing. They're trying to manipulate the crowd to cheer Ronda because she's been getting booed in this program with Becky. But like some of the stuff she was saying, I mean, laying the belt down the line, down, and saying, this is, if this doesn't mean anything, I don't want it. This is how you're making it. This shall not mean nothing. I like that part of the aspect of the story. I just don't like the way she was kind of like asking Stephanie to reinstate her, the way she was doing
a little bit of pandering, a little bit like that definitely is not her.
That's not her at all. Like she's queen bitch, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like she's Ronda, she demands stuff. She's not gonna like cower to Stephanie. Not that she was cowering a lot. It just didn't feel like her, and that's the only thing I can critique about that angle was her promo. But Charlotte, yes, she comes out there looking like a superstar because she is, and she has it all, and she cuts another really good promo, second week in a row. I mean, she's really hitting a home run with this. A lot of people who are bitching and moaning about, why are you putting Charlotte in here? Well, this is why, right?
well, the thing, if you want to really upset the fans, you can tell them that Charlotte is actually doing better stuff than Becky, and then they're gonna go crazy. But I kind of believe it. I kind of believe like Charlotte is just awesome right now.
Yeah, she's definitely on fire, and I look forward to her promo on Raw and continuing to what they're going to lead into Fastlane. Fastlane, I'm curious to see what's going to happen with that. Like, what do you do with them? Do you have some kind of confrontation again, or do you have a match with Charlotte and Ronda? Because I would think they would want to get that singles match in, but I don't want to. I kind of don't want to see that because I don't want to keep the anticipation, going until WrestleMania. But knowing WWE, knowing they got to fill up time on shows, I have a feeling they might rush that to do that match, which I hope not.
So, how does Becky get in the match? I think the thing that I want to see, obviously, I think this is what everyone wants to see, is Becky puts the old man in the disarmor. That's what I want to see. But Ronda and Stephanie have history. If you continue,
that could happen at Fastlane too. You're right.
If you continue this thing of, Ronda's asking for something, and Stephanie keeps butting in and saying, this is what we're doing, and maybe Ronda, puts a beat down on Stephanie and Stephanie caves, or I just don't see Stephanie accepting a match for the stipulations, because that would be really dumb, because she's...
Plus, for Becky's character, it just doesn't make sense for having Ronda fight for her, right?
Right.
It just doesn't make sense, but...
I mean, Becky could say, I'm on one leg. Stephanie, why don't you fight me for it? And if you beat me, and she's on the bad leg, and maybe Stephanie being, her father's daughter thinks like, oh, I think I could actually take her because she's got a bad wheel. I mean, that's something that they could do, but it's that is my intrigue, and I don't want to. I think the match is going to be great, and how they get there, I'm going to be fine with it generally. I just don't want it to feel too cheesy. As long as it's not too cheesy, I think I'll be okay. But I do want to see, what does Vince still have up his sleeve? Like, Vince isn't throwing 95 miles an hour like he once was, but can he still touch 88? Can he give us an 88 mile an hour fastball? Creative on this. I think I'd be satisfied with that.
I think he's been doing pretty good with this storyline. I think a lot of people, like I said, they're upset with the whole how Charlotte going to fit in, and just they wanted it to be a singles match between Becky and Ronda, but he stuck to his guns and wanted Charlotte in there, and I think that definitely hit a home run there. So, and I kind of liked how he did the Charlotte, put her in the match. I thought that was a really cool idea. So we'll see. Let's see what they have planned coming up next.
Big Dave Batista's back. What did you think of the Flair birthday storyline and to get Batista back into the swing of things?
I mean, it was a good surprise, even though we kind of knew that, something was happening, because
I want those blue lens sunglasses.
He's always stylish, man. Big Dave Batista's always stylish, but it's just okay. This is the fun. This is the wackiness of kayfabe, or the non-existent kayfabe anymore. That kind of just messes my brain sometimes, because we do know, as they talk about it all the time, Ric Flair talks about it all the time, how one of his best friends is Dave Batista. How they used to party together, go on the road together, tear the town up together. So, him beating up Ric Flair just doesn't, sink into me. I mean? I don't.
Well, he's
really
going to have to.
it.
He's definitely going to have to explain himself on Monday.
Yeah.
He's going to have a really good promo.
Yes. And, beating up one of his best friends to get Triple H's attention.
Yeah, why does he care so? Why does he care so much about this match? And why does Triple H care so little about this match?
Yeah, well, because we haven't. When has Batista asked about this match? Right.
Only in the inside wrestling websites that he does interviews for.
No one that has he been on in his my next movie, Guardians of the Galaxy. Oh yeah, but I really want to fight Triple H, but he's being a pussy. You're not trying to, that never happened. So it's well, let's wait to judge it next week. But cool. It's a nice special attraction match for WrestleMania. We'll see how good it's going to be. I think it'll be good. But I remember that last show. I know he hurt his pectoral muscle at the Saudi Arabia show, but but before that, Triple H did look like a step slower than I've seen him. He finally hit me. He looked older, so in the ring. So we'll see. I think it'll be a lot of smoke and mirrors. I'm guessing it'll be a no disqualification match. You'll take the Jericho playbook. We'll just make it a no disqualification. And so that's what I think is going to happen at WrestleMania. That'll be a no rules, no disqualification stip. There'll be tables and blah blah blah, and they'll hug afterwards.
Yeah. Well, I mean, these guys both look like $1 million still, but the reality is Batista is 50. and Triple H is 49. That's the reality.
But this is just a one-match thing, right?
Yeah.
It's only for WrestleMania, and that's it, right? So, unless they can convince him to stay longer like last time, he stayed past WrestleMania. It was with the Evolution thing. But, yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's a cool little special attraction thing.
Okay, so Vince McMahon, so they did a segment to open SmackDown. And this will be two other things about the road to WrestleMania. So they're about to do the Kofi contract signing. Daniel Bryan is sitting behind the desk. Stephanie is, even though this is Shane's show, Stephanie kind of like did a lot of the cheerleading, which I thought was interesting. So she was saying, Kofi Kingston pinned Daniel Bryan. Kofi Kingston pinned Daniel Bryan. Kofi Kingston did so good at the Elimination Chamber to hype him up. And he comes out with the New Day. And right as he's about to sign the contract to face Daniel Bryan at Fastlane, Vince McMahon's music plays. And this is like akin to a horror movie when you're like all alone in the house and you start hearing noises. Like, I was like, Kofi, hurry up and sign the stupid thing. Like, sign the contract. Vince is coming. She's gonna change the match. Sign the contract. Vince's music plays. Kofi stops, dramatically turns around to face Vince, who's coming out to make an announcement, and then they take the match away from him. Come on, Kofi. You got to understand. You got to know the genre here. So Vince announces that Kevin Owens is more deserving than Kofi Kingston, even though Stephanie McMahon just spent 5 minutes telling us why Kofi Kingston is so deserving of this match. And we have not seen Kevin Owens in months and months and months. So that didn't make any sort of sense to me. And I think this is Vince knowing that he's got the hardcore fans kind of twirled around his finger with this Ronda, Becky, Charlotte thing. And he's like, okay, how can I fuck with them some more? Because it's working. That's what it felt like to me. Like, because otherwise it doesn't really make that much sense because Kofi's so hot right now. And one of the problems is if you do take him away from this match, WWE historically, at least in the recent years, has not been able to keep guys who have organically become hot, keep their steam, and so I worry a little bit about that. But I mean, we'll see what happens. But I was just like, man, this guy, he's feeling it right now. Like he's feeling like the genetic jackhammer all over again or something.
Yeah, I wonder what they're gonna do. I mean, it's gonna be a 3-way at Fastlane, and then Daniel retains, and then Kofi and Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania now. I mean, I can see them kind of riding this momentum and, really focusing and wanting to present this special moment of Kofi winning the championship at WrestleMania. I don't think it'll be a long reign, but, I can see them doing that feel-good moment, WrestleMania moment that can always look back to.
So they said Kofi's been with WWE for 11 years. I thought back to when I was a kid and how many people had been with WWE for long, extended periods of time. Now, obviously, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Undertaker, those are kind of like, the legends who have just been there forever. And I thought, well, Hogan came back to WWE in late 83, early 84, and then he was gone by 92. So, like, Kofi Kingston's been with WWE in this run longer than Hogan's, like, main run in WWE. That's how long Kofi has been around. I have an issue with the Lifetime Achievement Award title, though. Not to say that he's not a good wrestler, because I do think he's a good wrestler. He's been around. He's had really good matches. I remember the series with Randy Orton. But I don't know if he should just get the belt because he's been around so long. It almost, and look, belts probably mean less than they ever have been or ever have meant. But Daniel Bryan has done a pretty good job with this current title. AJ Styles did a really good job just prior. And now you give it to Kofi because he got over, because someone got injured and you put him in their spot. I'm not really cool with that.
I know, me neither. I also don't believe in lifetime achievement awards, but WWE does like to book feel good moments, and look at Dolph Ziggler winning the title at one time. It wasn't just because that was their grand plan. It was just like, let's pop the crowd, That was basically why he got the title, why he cashed in and won it. Dolph Ziggler did. So I can see him kind of like, let's ride this and do a quick title change and then get it right back onto Bryan. And I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of changing the titles just because let's do a feel good moment. I think it's counterproductive for the long run, but I could just see WWE doing this.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm kind of bummed. I don't mind Kevin Owens coming back. I just kind of was hoping for a singles match with Kofi and Daniel Bryan because I just think it'd be a good match and Daniel could definitely create that drama and really build up to a great title match like he always does. So, and Kevin Owens coming back, did you feel like I didn't get those promos he did and
it just shows you how last minute the decision making was.
Yeah, they decided to do something different because he went from just like you said, goofy fat guy, right? Fat guy problem. Pizza to coming in like a badass, and I like how he presented himself.
Hit the stunner.
Yeah, I just like how he came in and like stared at I'm not worried about this nonsense with the New Day. This Kofi stuff. Yeah. This is I don't care. I'll get this title match. I really like that. I thought Bryan was good too. I thought he was the way he was like leaning back in his chair. He had everything down for this segment too as well.
The other thing that doesn't make sense is we remember Kevin Owens headbutting and busting open Vince McMahon on TV, which leads to those matches between Shane and Kevin Owens. And it was just like, it's not like that was that long ago. Like, it was like, all right, we can just forget about this and have it not explained. But maybe Kevin Owens will figure out how to explain it when he does his interview next week.
Yeah.
All right, so last bit of the Road to WrestleMania, and we'll move on. The NXT guys, and I say NXT guys, they're basically on both rosters. Ricochet, Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, Aleister Black. They are doing really well. Like, it's almost the opposite of how they brought up the other guys, and I wonder how they figure into the WrestleMania plans.
Yep, I mean they were the Revival because they got a win over them, but then also Gargano and Ciampa got a win over them too. You could do like a 3-way thing, I guess, maybe with the Revival, because they've been focused on tag teams with these guys, so maybe that's it. I do know there's Ciampa and Black and Ricochet will be teaming up in that Dusty tournament, so. It's that we have some big matches coming up at WrestleMania weekend. So I think I could see a 3-way with Revival because who's Revival have coming up?
Unless they do the Edgeheads again.
Yes, they could do that because they've been doing this losing streak gimmick. Heavy Machinery could play into it, but I think they might be for the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. I can see Otis winning that.
Yeah. I wonder if this R-Truth thing, this R-Truth Open Challenge, because, John Cena is his hero ever since he was a little kid.
Leads to John Cena?
Well, I mean, it could lead to John Cena. And when I was talking to Big Dave about that on Wrestling Observer Radio last night, and I was kind of trying to hedge him towards, what he thought they were going to do, but he didn't say anything. It could be John Cena. I think it'd be a waste of John Cena. What about Aleister Black? because he's got the mysteriousness, he doesn't really talk, like he just, Truth is like getting like these fluke wins, and then Aleister Black like shows up and he's like points to the WrestleMania sign. Truth is spooked and he leaves and they set up the match.
This is a match. I thought you'd book it to where he's like doing an open challenge at WrestleMania.
Oh, they could do it that way too. They could do. Yeah. They could. I would actually like. I would actually like them to set it up, because then they could do a little bit more backstory on him and like hype him up a little bit more, tell a little bit more story, because he's just a mysterious guy, right? Like, I mean, his character at least is mysterious.
Or if they didn't debut him yet, they left him for WrestleMania. He could have done the open challenge at WrestleMania, then he debuts.
Yeah.
And Black Mass and wins the belt. The only thing he did on R-Truth is kind of like a fun comedy character.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy the SmackDown segment with R-Truth when he came out, talking about his hero when he's a little kid, John Cena. I thought the comedy this was good comedy. This is good stuff. And then the match was, very entertaining with Andrade and Ray. And there was a moment when after Truth wins, he's on the outside, he's getting his belt, and he's walking to the back with Carmella, and he like looks at the camera like, yeah, got to survive that. Like, it was like perfect. Really good stuff.
I almost feel like he is a small fish in a big pond, but if he was in if he was in TNA, now TNA has its own issues, but if he could do this stuff in TNA where he actually is like one of the top guys, he'd be so good, because he's just such an entertaining person. I imagine like he's, of the 50 people on that roster, he's got to be like one of the best hangs out of all those guys. Imagine the stories that he has, right? Because there's that one historical picture with him and Tupac. You've seen that picture before.
Yeah, He's a cool dude. I mean, he worked APW once in Bakersfield, and he was like one of the coolest cats to come to the locker room. And
dude, I would love to hang out with that guy.
Zero attitude, just like all smiles. Like, at the time he was, featured big in TNA. So like, but he had no attitude at all. He just came in like, hey guys, what's up, and this and that. So I always like Truth, and the stuff with he did on that show, I like to see it continue. Like oh, 3-way, whoa, like back up in the challenge, but not like it's like not a heel thing. It's just his goofiness, and I don't know. I had a big smile on my face. I really like that segment a lot.
Look, man, I will go to my grave saying that as stupid as the Little Jimmy stuff was, his invisible friend Little Jimmy, I loved the attempt to make that thing work. I got a kick out of it, being okey doked by Lil Jimmy. Oh, and then what was that other character that he did? He did the Pretty Ricky or whatever, where he was like that he actually stole that from Blue Streak. You ever see Blue Streak with Martin Lawrence?
Oh yeah, I remember that movie.
Yeah, when Martin's trying to get into the police department and he dresses up as like the pizza guy with the big old funky glasses and the teeth and the velour suit, like that's where that had to be where Truth got that Pretty Ricky character. So that was funny.